What up, peeps? It's your boy Heckin Steve. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about collecting. So, in recent years, obviously video gaming and collecting has become a huge hobby, like even bigger than it used to be. There are so many more people in the space now, mostly due to social media and, building that nostalgia and that hype and that FOMO, fear of missing out. But what a lot of these new collectors are doing they're collecting not because it's things that they love, that they've played as children. They're collecting because of monetary value. So today we're going to be talking a lot about why I feel like you should not collect for investment. At the end of the day, you need to understand that these are just items. They are video games that, hold a lot of special memories in my heart, all of these. For the most part. There may be some on here I haven't played yet, but I have a feeling that I would like them, and that's why I purchased them. But there is not one single game in this collection that I purchased because it is worth a lot of money. These represent me, and before, a few months ago, I did that downsizing video game video, and that was happening because of influence. I was wanting to collect so many things just for the sake of having a bunch of shit on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily games that reflect on me as a gamer. I've got Pokemon Blue, complete in box. I actually have it loose as well, so I really didn't need to buy this complete in box, right? It is worth a lot of money. I think it's around $400 because this is like a first printing. But I didn't buy it because it was $400. There were actually a couple of reasons why I bought it. One was because I had traded in a bunch of Pokemon cards and got a shit ton of credit. So it only made sense to get Pokemon stuff for my Pokemon cards. But second is because this represents a time in my life that I love and appreciate, and that was being a child. Before the internet, before all of this social media marketing, before all the algorithms, this represents me and a device that took 4 AA batteries, and the fun and joy and wonder that I experienced from playing this series for the first time. Now, I played Pokemon Red, but Blue is basically the same thing. It's just got a couple of different Pokemon in it that Red doesn't have, and vice versa. But unfortunately, there wasn't a first printing of Red available for me to purchase, or I would have went with that one. But I have no problem having Pokemon Blue here. And also Pokemon as a whole, as a franchise, that's a huge deal for me because I've been a fan since the anime came out, since the video games came out in the mid to late 90s. And there are a lot of Pokemon stuff. There's a lot of Pokemon stuff on this wall. There's a lot of Pokemon stuff over here. I mean, if you look, I even have a dedicated amiibo section to just the Pokemon right there on that front row. Sorry, that was probably a sloppy camera shift. But, Pokemon's a big deal for me. This right here, okay, this is a 20th anniversary PlayStation controller. Now, when I bought this, man, I thought it was a 30th. So I was really excited because I was going to open it up and I was going to play with it because I thought it was the PS5 30th anniversary. I wasn't paying that much attention. I was just so hyped that I saw it and I just immediately bought it. But it still is really cool to have. And yeah, I haven't opened it up, but that doesn't mean that I won't. It's just, you can use it on the PS5, but it only works on PS4 games. So if I'm not playing a PS4 game, then it's not going to do me much of a use, any good. And I already have 2 PS5 controllers. So I ended up leaving that one sealed, but it's in the collection. I didn't return it. I thought about returning it for sure, but then I realized, it still represents my life as a gamer. It still represents what I've been through with PlayStation my whole life. I've been a part of every single step of PlayStation's career, not career, but you know what I mean? Like the entire time that PlayStation's been around. So have I. So yeah, that would be one of the few things that is sealed on the wall that probably won't get opened, but I'm not saying that I'm not going to open it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not that type of collector. I'm not the type of collector that wants to own things brand new, sealed. I don't want to preserve it like a museum or anything like that. This is just my little corner in my office that represents a hobby of mine that brings me a lot of fun. It also brings me a lot of frustration, especially playing online. But yeah, and the thing that I'm trying to wrap back around to is there are a lot of YouTubers that influence people to collect for, maybe, the wrong reasons. Sometimes indirectly or directly by saying, ooh, 360 games are really popular, so you need to go out and you need to buy some 360 games. Well, that could be the case if you love the 360, If you don't, then you don't need to be buying 360 games. Maybe if you're curious and want to get into 360, you could. But, just to tell people generally that this is hot right now. You need to go get some. You need to get your collection up. You need to buy. And the thing is, like, these people are telling you all these things and they're not even gaining from it. Like they don't make any money off of you buying 360 games. Not unless they're a seller, I guess. But if you buy stuff because people tell you to, then that's not very passionate. That's not passionate at all. Now, if you used to play 360 and you watch these collectors and they tell you that, and then you go out and buy some 360 games, that's fine. That makes sense because that was something you did back then, and now you're gonna relive it. You're getting that nostalgia hit. But collected for investment, ooh, I'm gonna buy this and keep it sealed because it'll be worth a lot of money in 10 years. Well, you know what else would be worth a lot of money? Some stocks. Some kind of investments that aren't based around a physical object. Because there could be a fire, there could be a flood, there could be all kinds of things. There could be theft. All kinds of things could happen to this. The only thing that happens to a stock is business doesn't do well, stock goes down, then you can sell it. You might not make as much money as you want to, but you can still get rid of it. But basically what I'm saying is don't collect this for an investment, because if you're not collecting games for passion, then you're just collecting money. Except it's in the form of Call of Duty for the 360. You know what I mean? You could just invest in stocks or something if you want to make a lot of money later. This is for the love of the game. No pun intended. But for me, that's how I feel. And it feels good to have something this large that represents, something that I've loved my whole life and I've had ups and downs with. But, for me, for example, a perfect example here, this right here, this is all the GameCube games that I currently have. Now, there's more GameCube games that I would love to get, just haven't gotten around to it yet. But as you see, looking on the wall here, there are much more 360 games, because they go down in 2 rows down here that you can't see on camera. Right there. And a little bit over here. There's a lot more 360 games than there are GameCube games because I didn't have a lot of GameCube experience as a kid. So I'm not passionate about GameCube as much as I am 360 or even PlayStation 1 here. And for some reason I decided to separate these by greatest hits and that. I guess because the green and the black mixed together didn't look that good. But that's the only game system I've done that for. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of silly. But yeah. If I was collecting for money, I probably would have a lot more GameCube games. Chibi Robo, that's a $227 game. I'm so glad that Nintendo Switch Online is going to get that game so that people can legally play it for a much less price than paying a reseller or a store $200 and something for it. I've heard nothing but great things about that game too, but that's all I could really say about that. But yeah, and then the thing is, I don't necessarily need to have games complete in box, but for stuff that I love, it makes sense, right? Like Terminator 2, completed on the GameCube. I think I may have played this game a little bit as a kid, but it's not necessarily the game that I bought it for. It was the franchise. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, Terminator 2. So that represents that. in a physical form because I don't collect physical movies anymore, at least not at this point. God, man, I hope I don't start doing that again. I have a huge digital library. And then, GoldenEye here, which was a significant game in my gaming journey, especially early on. So there are some games that I will buy complete in box, as you saw with Pokemon, Terminator 2, GoldenEye. But I don't need to have every single thing complete in box. Now, discs are a little bit different. I do want to have those complete. I will settle for just case and game, unless it's something like PlayStation. I mean, obviously, you have to have the manual because then you won't have any front. And that would just drive me freaking crazy. But yeah, I know this video's went on a little bit longer than it probably should have, but that's all I really wanted to say is I just hate to see people collect video games for an investment when you could make money in the future by investing into stocks or something else that isn't a physical thing that is very limited. Because if you collect for investment with games, you're making the stock less, it's less thin, or it's more thin for those that want to buy it because they love the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like if there were only 10 copies of a game in the world and 5 investors bought 5 of them, and then that means that's 5 gamers that love that game that can't get it, at least unless they pay the gouged price. Because I'll be honest with you, all these games these days, they're all price gouged, even ones that are fairly priced. You know what I'm saying? Like Dead Space 2 for the Xbox 360, this game goes on sale on Steam for like $2.99 all the time. But I guarantee you this is probably like a $10 to $15 Xbox 360 game. You know what I'm saying? So that's price gouged out the ass. You have access to it, digitally on the PC. Hell, even probably a better version because you can play it at a higher frame rate. You play it in a better resolution, or at least equal resolution to the Xbox 360. And yeah. I don't know, man. It's just for me, I think that collecting is a lot of fun. And I think collecting should represent you as a gamer. So you shouldn't be buying complete sets of games because nobody ever had a complete set back in the day. I mean, well, hold on. I can't say nobody. I mean, I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 dudes out there, but that shouldn't be something that you need to accomplish with your collecting journey. You don't need to have a fuck ton of games. You know what I'm saying? You could have 5 to 10 GameCube games. You could have 5 to 10 Wii games. You could have 5 to 10 Xbox One or 360. As long as it represents you as a gamer and your career as a gamer, that should make you feel accomplished enough. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Catch you in the next video.